So this is my tutorial for Japanese heli skip. Since my last video, this trick has gotten some recent optimizations that make it a lot more consistent. So I'm going to go through the trick and explain what I do and what I look for. Now if you're planning on learning this trick, I'm going to assume that you already know the basics for movement in this game, like shuffling and quick turning and can management and all that. If you don't know these things, then please watch either Yayo's or C7's basic any percent tutorials. Either one will explain all of these things, and I'll link them both in the description. Now if you don't know how this trick works, basically we're going to be spraying all the graffiti in the trigger zone before the cop dialogue ends. And to buy ourselves more time, we're also going to be reloading the level by switching characters at a save point, which resets that cop dialogue. Finally, once all the graffiti is sprayed, we're going to be escaping the trigger zone before the cop dialogue ends. Now, first of all, this is for the Japanese version of the game. If you're on English and you want to do heli skip, please don't do it like this. There is a much easier and faster method of heli skip on English, the video of which I'll link in the description. If that video doesn't do it for you, then just watch any sub 2 any percent run that plays on English. That'll probably have heli skip, and you'll probably be able to figure it out from there. English heli skip is, I wouldn't call it easy, but it's pretty simple in that you can just do the movement you see, and with enough practice you'll probably get it. But if you're on Japanese, this trick becomes much more complicated. Japanese dialogue ends much sooner than English, which means that for this trick you have way less time to spray everything and escape before the dialogue ends. So compared to the English version of this trick, we're going to be doing an extra cycle for graffiti, and also when we're escaping we're going to be doing some more optimized and much more difficult movement in order to go fast enough. So I'm going to go through the trick now. If you're following a typical any percent route, you would usually have around 15 cans entering Kibo. If you have more, then that's great. But if you have less than 15 cans, then consider either getting the extra yellow cans in the sewers, or if you don't want to do that, then you may need to do an extra cycle during heli skip to reload the blue cans next to the entrance, and then grab those. Either way, just make sure that after you spray the save point, you have at least 22 cans before you start the actual trick. So we enter the level, and the first thing we do is we're going to grab these blues, and then we are going to spray the save point here. Then we reload the level by switching characters, and we then begin first cycle. Now when the game fades back in, mash B to boost, get all these cans, and then grind the right rail here. Just grind it down, and then when you get to the roof, jump to the roof, spray the XL, and then at the end of the XL, quick turn around, and then boost, and then hold right, and then fall onto the rail, and grind it back up. And don't fall off the roof, obviously. If you fall off the roof, you are on your own. So now for a second cycle, again boost out of the save point, shuffle to get these cans, and then quick turn down left and grind up the pole here. You're going to want to approach this pole from the left, not from the right. Approaching it from the right will give you problems and you might not grind it, so just go to the left and save yourself the trouble. So yeah, go up the pole, spray these tags, watch your speed so you don't miss any. Once you finish the L, you're going to want to jump down to the right and grind up this pole and get these two smalls. And after that, just fall to the left and shuffle your way to the save point. Now in this cycle, there's an optimal jump here it looks difficult, but it's really not as hard as it looks. Basically when you're spraying the L, you want to slow down by holding like down left, depending on how your camera is. You want your speed to be around here, and then when you get to around this area on the rail, you want to jump and then hold right, and you should land on these roofs here, at which point you can just jump on and continue the rail. It saves a bit of time. If you try for the jump and fail, that's okay. Just turn around and grind back up. As long as you don't panic, you should still have plenty of time to make it back. Now, if you're slow and you start grinding the rail after this guy starts talking, then you're actually in danger of not making it. If this happens, again, don't panic, just start grinding. Don't fuck up your tricks, just keep doing tricks. And when you get to around here, instead of falling off and shuffling, you're going to want to jump and land here, and then boost all the way down to the save point. Keep in mind that if you do this, you'll have to do an extra cycle to get some extra blue cans before you can continue with the trick. So I guess now is a good time to show what happens if you don't make it back in time. If you don't make it back in time, when you reload the level, you will get this dialogue in which Hayashi will speak in Japanese, and basically what he's saying is you fucked up and your run is probably over at this point. So now we come to third cycle. This is where we escape the trigger zone. It's by far the hardest part of the trick, so I'm going to go through it in much more detail than the last two cycles. So the first thing you need to do is we need to do an in-between cycle to get cans. We can't start third cycle unless we have at least 26 cans, although ideally you would have like 27 or 28 just to be like super safe. So once you have your cans, boost out like normal, shuffle, get the cans, and then go left and grind the left rail. You should have 30 cans at this point. So now we're going to hit this corner. Right after you hit it, jump up to the high rail. Then when you're grinding, do one X trick and then boost right after. The point of the X trick is to delay the boosts so that it lasts until we jump off of the following rail. We don't want to boost right away, or else the boost just won't last long enough. So we do our X trick, and then we boost right after, and we're going to fall to the next rail, and then we boost jump off of that rail right before the boost ends. And we're going to go towards the next tag at a much higher speed than just jumping normally. And that speed is important if we want to go fast enough to escape. So now we're going to land on the rail, and as soon as we land, we're going to spray and jump at the same time. And then we're going to let go of everything. We want to let go of everything until the camera returns back to normal. If you don't let go of everything, or if you don't wait long enough before reapplying controls, then you might have reverse controls, which is really bad because you might go to the right and then fall into the water and void out, and that is obviously going to kill the trick. So we want to wait long enough before reapplying controls so that that doesn't happen. So now we want to land on this platform here to set ourselves up for the next jump. If you have trouble making it to this platform, like if you're like landing before the platform, try doing air tricks to give yourself more distance. So now we're going to spray the tag, and this upcoming part is probably the most important part to get. If you want to go fast. When you get to around here, we want to boost and then jump and then spray. This part is tricky. It's mostly just muscle memory because things are going so fast. The goal of this jump is to land on this roof here and then run off of it so you land on this roof here, and then using your boost, you want to cut as much of this corner as possible. This part's really important to get. You're going to lose a surprising amount of time if you don't cut the corner well. Another thing to pay attention to is when exactly you start your boost, because we want our boost to last until the end of the roof, and then we want to boost jump at the end of it. What we used to do is we used to boost slightly earlier and then shuffle and then jump, and that was really slow. So instead we boost slightly later, and then our boost is going to last until the end of the roof, and then we boost jump, and we don't have to shuffle at all. This is probably the biggest new optimization, this whole part of the trick. We need to cut this corner and we need the boost jump, or else the trick is much more risky. Also, when you boost jump here, you should still be holding left. We want to jump straight towards the tag, and it also helps to cut more of the corner and sort of like curve yourself around the wall. Now we're coming up to the last tag, and we want to spray it while also jumping up to the higher rail. When we jump, we want to hold left again so that we cut the corner as much as we can. But in this case, we can't cut too much, or else we'll actually be too far from the tag and we won't spray it, which is very, very bad. So cut the corner, but not too much. So now all the graffiti is sprayed and all we have to do is escape. At the end of this rail, we're going to jump up to the billboard and get these cans here. And at this point, there's a good cue that I use to see if I'm going to make it or not. If Hayashi appears after you jump towards the billboard, then as long as you keep boosting for the whole final rail, then you should make it. If Hayashi appears before you jump, then I'm sorry to say that you were too slow and will not make it in time, and you should prepare yourself for helicopters. If you jump and Hayashi appears at the same time, then I guess just pray. So yeah, jump off the billboard, get the cans, and then just mash B and boost as early as you can. And then you should have 2 boosts for the entire rail. And then if you get to this point and you don't get a cutscene, then you have skipped helis. Congratulations. And here's the full trick in real time. So while we're here, I also want to talk about one more thing that's sort of related to heli skip. There's been a change in the 80% soul route, thanks to a faster clip in bottom point. We actually don't get the soul there anymore. Instead, we replace it with this soul right here at the bottom of this buoy, or buoy, depending on how you say it. It might seem a little scary because it's right after heli skip, but it's actually not difficult to get. Basically, right after the final rail, after you've already gotten heli skip, hold left and then just fall off the rail, and then aim into this leg of the structure until you hit the ground. And then when you hit the ground, just hold right and just go get the soul. And then after you get the soul, turn around and grind this ladder here, and then just jump off to the right and continue on your merry way. The only scary part here is that if you fall trying to get the soul, you'll actually respawn back in the trigger zone, and you will trigger helis that you worked so hard to skip. So if you really can't get the soul, or you have problems with it, or you are just afraid, I guess, that's okay. You don't have to get the soul. You can also get the soul at the end of the level at the top near the doomsday clock. And it's a little bit slower, but obviously much safer because you are very far away from the trigger zone. So that's Japanese heli skip. If you have any questions, just leave a comment or come visit us on the Discord, and we will help you as much as we can. Thanks for watching, and good luck.